Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode 140 today for the Hungarian Grand Prix in Season 8. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to check that one out before you see this one, the home Grand Prix, and, well, it was a pretty great day in the office for the team overall. For me, I think, a little bit still disheartened at how it ended. We did so well. We were nearly there for the 1-2 for the team. Obviously, Schumacher went on to get his second win of the season and for the team as well since he joined this year. But we were there for P2. Obviously, would have loved to have been there for the win again, back to back from season 7, but just didn't quite have the pace. Schumacher simply walked away basically once he got back past us, and we were fighting Hamilton way too much, I feel. But then the tyre wear just kicked in, and in the end, it actually wasn't even tyre wear, really. It was just a case of straight line speed of the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo, Russell and Lando getting past us just before the fill section, and so we had to settle for P4. It's still, okay. We gained some points on Ocon. We lost a little bit to Lando Norris, and so it means in the championship, Lando and Esteban Ocon are level on points, 101. We are 6 points back on 95, so it is mega close, and it's not just them, George Russell and Mick Schumacher, they're not too far off, both in the 80 region mark for points, so, give them a couple of more podiums. If they beat myself, Ocon and Norris a couple of more times, they might well and truly be right there. Obviously, it's a big if. We've got some circuits coming up that I enjoy. The Belgium Grand Prix, I think we're going to be strong. Italy will be difficult because that's always a slipstream fest with the AI. And Singapore, although it's always chaos for us, Singapore has actually turned into a really good racetrack for me in terms of results coming through the chaos. And then last season, well, I just remember back to last season, Japan and Mexico were just absolute, I don't even know how to describe them, unworldly races that just, so much chaos and action happen in those two. So I don't know if the same can be said for this season, but yeah, we've got a very strong second half of the season to go as we cross the halfway mark last time out. But let's get into then straight away qualifying then for this Hungarian Grand Prix. In terms of the race weekend for Hungary, in terms of the form guide, I feel like we've had strong pace at Hungary, but the last few we've tried the 2-stop. It's not quite worked. We've been so close. Give it a few more laps in the 50% race, and maybe we could have got 2 wins maybe the last 3 seasons here at Hungary. So I'm thinking maybe into this one, maybe we just firm it and we just go with the 1-stop, deal with the tyre wear. The only thing is though, the tyre wear was very harsh last race, and that's maybe part of the reason why we lost the podium, lost the 1-2. So I'm also wary of that. But first and foremost, there's a bigger challenge ahead of us. It's raining. As you can clearly see, we've got the green wall intermediate tyres. No rain forecast for this Sunday, but this is going to make Saturday's qualifying tricky because we're going to set up the car for a dry race tomorrow, so that means we may not have as much downforce as we want. Maybe the car is going to be a little bit on edge maybe with the throttle compared to what we'd usually set it up for in terms of if we're doing wet running. So let's see. The first outing here in Q1 was okay. Schumacher P2, we're in P5, not too bad I would say. We had to do 2 laps in a row to kind of get comfortable with it, but that's kind of what I always do on this game. I find it useful just to kind of fuel up the car for 2 laps in a row and kind of get settled in with the brake pedal and the throttle, something we very much didn't do around Baku a few episodes ago. But a surprise exit is Lewis Hamilton then in the McLaren. His teammate Ocon, joint championship leader up in P3, and he's out in Q1. So it's the Hamilton of old of this career mode save. Not doing a great job there, so he's going to have a tough time. Hungary, obviously, I always say it, Monaco, without the barriers to the point where it's become a bit of a meme, I guess. But, it is so tricky to overtake here. It's, even for the AI on the F1 game, it is so hard to overtake with no amount of kind of slipstream and maxed out cars. It is difficult because the track's so narrow, just the way you accelerate out of corners, it's hard in the race, especially also then with a tyre wear. You have to look after the internal car temperature, so that's going to be an issue for Hamilton, and that will help us. Remember in the championship, in the other championship, the constructors, obviously myself and Schumacher v Ocon and Hamilton, it's really been the whole season as they've been the only consistent team with 2 runners up there. Well, one of them's let the other one down there with Hamilton being knocked out. But anyway, back to the action then here in Q2. You can see we've gone for another second flyer. This is actually on I think a new set of tyres I think I maybe used, and we go fastest of all, and we get through, and this time we're actually quicker than Schumacher, quite a fair amount actually. He just didn't get a good lap in. P9, so he was almost on the edge. Sainz gets knocked out. Verstappen as well. Not too surprising for Sainz, kind of also not surprising for Verstappen as well, as Gasly and Lando Lando have both comfortably had those two in their back pockets this season so far when it comes to out-and-out pace and even in the races. But good pace for us then. P2, we are 2.5 tenths off Ocon though, so, you know, let's not look into it too much. There is a lot of time to find there versus one of our rivals, but at least we're high up in position. So actually feeling okay, and the car not feeling too twitchy. It is a bit of an issue. We got so many long acceleration zones. You have to constantly be on your tiptoes, and also lockups are so easy to do. But we've shown some good pace here in the wet, although to be fair, in Q1 to Q2, myself and Schumacher kind of swapped positions, you know, being right up there at the sharp end and being lower down near the cutoff. So I'm not really too sure where the true pace is. I guess we're going to find out now in this session in Q3, but coming through down the hill, we've got it all crossed up, and we've had a calamity. In the top 10 shootout, we lost the rear and got on the power a little bit too early. Then the car just lost it. Try my best to catch it. We were soaring away at the steering wheel, but it just wouldn't budge. And then trying to stop the car, hit the brakes, and it's a double lockup. And we're going so quick at this point that the car just literally launches towards the wall there. But look at this, we already lost it here, completely opposite lock. Now here I thought I caught it, so I started to steer back normally, but then it went again, had to steer again, counter steer. At this point it's gone. I've lost it, trying to slow the car down, hit the brakes, instantly double lock up, and that wall is so unlucky. If that wall was a little bit further down, I honestly think we may have gotten away with just hitting the rear end and maybe losing just our front wing, and we could have gone back to the pit lane and changed the wing and gone again on a different set of older intermediates. But no, that wall was right there, and it completely sheared the front right suspension and tyre off, and so we're out in the top 10 shootout. At least we're going to be still there then in P10. But Mick Schumacher, our teammate, wow, speak of just the worst timing when our car is looking great. Mick Schumacher, just like his father, great in the wet here, it would seem, and on pole position for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Leclerc in P2, Ocon in P3, Russell a lofty P4, Lando Norris in P5, our other championship rival. For us, P10, dismal end to the Saturday. We need to make up for it. Let's go to Sunday.
It's race day in Budapest as we get ready for another round of the Formula One World Championship. We don't expect too many retirements at this track. There are plenty of current and former drivers with flawless finish rates here. In particular, Ralf Schumacher. He made it across the line in all 10 of his Hungarian Grand Prix starts. We're northeast of Budapest for the race today at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring circuit. 14 corners here, 8 to the right and 6 to the left, on a track where downforce is king and passing is notoriously difficult. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. So let's chat about Daniel Kvyat. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Mick Schumacher lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Ocon, Russell, Lando Norris, and Giovinazzi, Stroll, Gasly, the owner driver, and Carlos Sainz, Verstappen, Albon, Nicholas Latifi, and Matsushita, Joe, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Daniel Kvyat. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. De Vries, Magnussen, Giotto, and Jack Aitken. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So it is looking pretty doom and gloom right now, but there is no rain in the air. It is only going to be getting a little bit sunnier as we get on through this Sunday. So hopefully we have a good car in the dry. I mean, if the last few seasons are to be taken into account, I think we do have a pretty nifty car. And strategy-wise, like I said, I think more than ever now, because remember, everyone has a free choice of tyre, so everyone's going to probably start on the mediums, go to the hard. So we're going to go with that. We're going to go with the one stop for once here around Hungary and see if we can hold on at the end with the tyre wear. And first and foremost, have the pace to cut through and make up from P10 with our teammate Schumacher on pole position as we go to 5 red lights to the Hungarian Grand Prix. The lights are out and we're underway, and Gasly on the soft compound tyre. We actually have a okay start, but then as we go down to turn 1, we're bogging down a bit, losing some speed to Stroll and Giovinazzi, but a gap opens up on the left and it's a really good space, and we go around the outside start of 2-3 cars there, and we're up into P6. It's been a fantastic turn 1. And now ahead of us down the hill, Norris and Russell side by side. They're going to get very close, and Russell has a snap of oversteer. We're going to cut through on the inside and just narrowly get through on Russell. Round the outside, Norris has got the position there, but Russell really struggling initially here with a higher fuel maybe with the Alfa Romeo. 2 twitches there, one when he got passed by Norris, and one as we went through on the next apex, and we only just, I feel like a matter of pixels, got the front wing underneath his rear and got through on the right hand side to make the overtake. But at the moment then, for our teammate, it's good news for him. He's leading the Grand Prix. Oh no! No! Oh no, we spoke too soon! The commentator's curse has come out! Mick Schumacher from the lead as an engine failure, and we almost overtake Lando. We get pinched in by Schumacher, retiring on the left. It's all kicking off here at this Grand Prix. So it's now the joint championship leader, Esteban Ocon, that leads the way of this Grand Prix. Leclerc in second place. We have a little look at Lando Norris in the Red Bull, who's now up into third, and we're in P4. It's only taken 2 laps. We've gone from P10 to P4, looking good, and now pressurising Lando Norris, flying the flag solo for the aarava team, and Lando loses the back end. The tyre wear is already kicking in on the medium tyres, I wonder. That may not be great news for everyone if we're already all starting to struggle on the rear end, but they may have just been the Red Bull being a little bit peaky on the high fuel, and we're past Lando and up into P3 and making fantastic progress as we move on to lap number 6 then. A couple laps later, getting very, very close to Leclerc's rear end. Almost got caught out with how kind of early he was braking into turn 1. Ocon leads, but he's on the soft compound, I've only just realised. So the rest of us on mediums, but Ocon being on softs, he's waltzing away, but that's massive because he's doing the 2-stop then, he might be. As we go now on the outside of Leclerc, size him up on the next lap, lap 7 this is. Very close on the outside of turn 1, banging tyres a little bit there on the front right, getting a warning for collisions, having to make this a little bit cleaner next time, and this is going to be a clean move because we don't make any contact and we just squeeze Leclerc out, and we're up into P2. We are on an absolute charge, P10 to P2 in a matter of 7 laps, so we did most of them in the first 2 laps, but Ocon leading the way. He's the next car up. He's on soft compound tyres though, so he'll be coming in, in a matter of, I would say 2 laps, maybe lap number 9 to 10, and surely he's doing a 2-stop then, because unless he's going to go to hards and really stretch them, which is going to be a big ask from lap number 10 or 9, I'd feel, and he comes in on the very next lap. This is lap number 8 onto 9, I believe, and Ocon is in for that first pit stop off the soft compound tyre, so we now lead the Hungarian Grand Prix. What a turnaround from Q3. We lead on the medium tyres. Ocon goes on to mediums. That surely means he's doing a 2-stop, unless, I don't know what him and McLaren are playing at, and they're going to try a very audacious 1-stop on mediums around Hungary. I doubt it, though, because we're all starting mediums, and we're all going to go to hard tyres. So I think Ocon, he's going to have to show some mega pace. I mean, he was 3.2 seconds up the road from us, when he made the pit stop. So if he keeps that pace up on the mediums for the rest of the race, he could try and come back through. But as I said at the start of the video, we've tried the 2-stop about 2-3 times now around Hungary last few seasons, and it's not actually ever worked. We've got close. We got the closest thing we ever did last season, but we haven't quite got that win, elusive win on the 2-stop around Hungary. It's just a bit, the track's just a little bit too close for the 1-stop, basically, if you know what I mean. So he's going to find it tough, which is great news for me, great news for Lando, obviously, as well, just behind me, behind Leclerc. Not so much for Schumacher, who is maybe, bidding to go for 2 wins on the trot, maybe, one last race. Built momentum, was within 10 points of me. If he went on to win this race, he could have well and truly been in the championship fight. So, such a shame for our teammate Schumacher. Being completely honest there, I'm not just saying that, it is a shame because it would have been sick to have him in the fight. There's obviously still time left, there's still races to go, but right now, that's just not what you want, basically. But lap number 12 onto 13, we're coming in then for our pit stop on the hard compound tyre. You can see we've gone a bit early here, maybe about a lap or two early, but I felt like my mediums were starting to go. I was starting to put in some red lap times, Leclerc was getting a bit too close for comfort, so I thought it was time to kind of bail out, come in for the hards, and hopefully they can go the distance. But right now, at the moment, what we're concentrating on is Ocon, who's only come out just ahead of us, you know, so here Ocon's lost a lot of time then on these mediums. What's happened there? On worn mediums, I caught him up on his fresher mediums, and he didn't lose that. He came in a lot earlier, so he didn't lose time by staying out or anything like that on the soft compound tire. So why is Ocon so slow? And he's so slow now. Lap 14, we've set all red sectors on this outlap coming out of the pits, and we're now going for a move down the inside of the Frenchman. What is going on? Is he got a car issue or something? Ocon is seeming to be very suspiciously slow right now, and he's not caught up to his teammate who was up the road on the mediums course. So we're going to have to try and keep an eye on that and keep you updated on what's happening there, because that's massive for the championship then. One of the leader, the joint leader, going slow. But lap 17, here we are then. Everyone else coming in a fair few laps after us, and the overcut seems to be working here at Hungary, because Lando and Leclerc have got ahead of us. We're now side by side with the Red Bull, and we only just get through out ahead of him. But obviously the hard compound, it takes a while to heat up. I've still not set a personal best lap time yet, so maybe that's why the overcut, even on worn mediums, worked out for everyone. And Leclerc is now in the race lead, but now eventually lap 18, so quite a few laps, you know, since we came in. Finally now, the tyres are starting to kind of finally rubber in, heat up a little, find that groove, and now we can try and push on. But Leclerc was looking pretty damn nippy. You know, he's got away from us at this point. He's extended the gap to about 1 second, so we've not got DRS on him, whereas we were within DRS just as he came out the pit lane. So the Ferrari looking quick now in this second phase of the race. Initially after we, you know, kind of walked past him, you know, early doors, you know, having to go around the outside, but we made it work. So here we are then. Can we get past Leclerc for the second time now in this race? We have DRS open. We're coming down the straight. Are we going to be close enough? Can we go for a dive? We think better of it. We weren't really that close at all in the end of it then. Bring out my inner Crofty there, wanting to go a little bit too eager on making a move. But yeah, the pecking order right now is Leclerc, myself, Norris, Ocon is there, but now he's not, as he's pit in. Lap number 22, Ocon has pit by this stage of the Grand Prix, and so he's on the 2-stop. He's down in, I can tell you, about P11 or 10, and so he's got a lot of work to do, not only just to come back through to us, just to come back to some good points, really, especially if he's as slow as he was in that second stint on the mediums. Maybe the McLaren just didn't like the medium tyres, I'm not too sure, but right now, on to lap 23, the fight is still going on between myself and Leclerc. It's been a bit of a stalemate affair so far, but now purple first sector, 2 reds in the last sectors, but it's going to be the red of the Ferrari that we're overtaking into turn 1. It's a big send. Leclerc comes back at us then, and he's actually out traction us. We're close. We're going to nearly bang tyres. It's so fine. On the left, we're fighting our old school rival from seasons 2 and 3 in the championship here today at Hungary, and we've got past him. We're up into P1. We lead the Hungarian Grand Prix once again. The race win is legitimately in our hands. I hope you know that. It is literally here, because we're fighting Leclerc, Norris, Russell there behind in P4, doing a quiet but very good job. Once again, the Alfa Romeo. And where is Ocon? All the way back here, I think in P11 or P10, like I said, behind his teammate Hamilton, yet to overtake him. So we are fighting these three for the race win. I doubt Ocon is going to make his way through. He's not got that same electric pace we've shown when we tried the 2-stop. But as we go on through the laps then, into the last 7, I think this is, and Lando is now finding the speed that he wasn't showing before, and he's gone down the inside of the Ferrari. Leclerc locks up. I wonder if the Ferrari now is facing tyre issues. The tyre wear is really affecting everyone. I can tell you, even I'm struggling. It is going to be very close. It's maybe going to be a bit of a Silverstone repeat where the tyre wear is very, very high, because if we look here, bottom right, look at that front left, 62% I think that was. That is mad high, and we've got 5 laps to go, and this track, as the sun comes out, the heat, it's going to make the track even worse for the degradation. But here comes Lando, lap 31, it's not over, he's going to charge for some more, he's going to try and take the race lead away from us, and it's so close on the right, we nearly make some contact with our old teammate, and we stay on the outside, we out-traction him this time, and we're up into P1 once again. But Lando, surprisingly, finding some pace out of nowhere. Is he, where is he going? Right to left, Lando fakes right to left, and he tries to get a move done on the left-hand side. This is getting very close, and we're locking up everywhere. The front left is getting so much punishment for each of these lockups, but I can't help it because the tyre wear is in turn making me lock up more. So it's a never-ending cycle here. And look how quick that Red Bull is off the final corner. The traction Lando is getting is unbelievable. So I wonder what his tyre wear is saying on the rears and even the front left as we go into turn one, make a little bit of contact, but we might have a massive oversteer moment there as we try and catch the car, and it's going to be 3 wide. Russell sends it down the inside. Russell side by side with Lando Norris and Leclerc. It's still 3 wide down the hill. Oh, there's been a bit of contact, and the Ferrari has some damage, but that was amazing. That came out of nowhere. It was Lando v Leclerc down the hill, then out of nowhere, the Alfa Romeo just sent it on the inside, and it was 3 wide, and George Russell is up into P3 now. Leclerc is limping. He may be out of the race. He is now. He's pit for the damage. What a shame there. The once race leader is gone now thanks to Lando Norris. I think with that contact made, Lando, no penalty for him. But here we are on to the last lap of the Grand Prix. Look how the tyres have gone off. 81%. We're very much in puncture territory here. On to the last lap of the Grand Prix. It's almost deja vu from Silverstone. Lando and Russell either side of me trying to overtake me and ruin this race for us. But we're just about threading the car like a needle through a haystack in the inside of turn one. On the outside, I should say, to the inside for the next left-hander. Lando trying his best, but we just do enough to go round and place the car. But look at the top left, I think behind us, as we squeezed out Lando, Russell's up into P2. I can't have this race has just become, this went from 0 to 100 real quick, ladies and gents. This was a madness. We're in P1 then. We've got half a lap left. Our tyres are at 84. Look how slow we are in comparison to earlier on. But Russell on the last lap got Lando Norris. We squeezed him out. Didn't make any contact. It was fair and square. Hard but fair racing, I think, from me. But just Lando, you know, he's got some tyre. We've all got this tyre wear. And so I think as we pushed him a little bit wide and took him wider, Russell nipped to the inside, got the P2, and he's really given us a good fight. But we're going to hold it through the final bend and come through for a spectacular win at the Hungarian Grand Prix from P10 on the grid. We were in the wall, tyre shredded off in Q3, and we've come home for the victory here. But my word, what a race. The tyre wear, insanity.
It's a performance to be proud of today from our Hungarian Grand Prix winners. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, Crofty, this was won through an abundance of speed and an abundance of skillful overtakes. Inside, outside, cutting underneath, we saw it all today. And it's really nice to see a Grand Prix won in that manner. A race, surely, that will satisfy the purists today, I think.
The faces on our top 3 look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all.
So Schumacher got his second win of the season last time out, and we have just got our second win of the season. How about that? And it's an all-British podium. We couldn't do it at the home race, but we did it at the next one. Oh, for goodness sake, never get any luck with this stuff. It would have been absolutely insane if we got this podium last time out, but it is what it is then. Schumacher out the race. Disappointing. Look at the George Russell in the Alfa Romeo. He's up into 3rd in the championship. We lead now off that win, which is amazing considering how far we were only a couple of races ago. Lando Norris down to, well, he stays in P2 because he was level with Ocon, 101 points. He's now 4 points back from us, and then 10 behind him is George Russell. Ocon's down to P4, so Ocon's kind of out of this championship fight at the moment. Russell's more in than he is, but I honestly still think Schumacher might be in this. If he comes back to have another good result and strong consistency from now on, I think it's still potentially on for a 5-way cheeky fight here. Very much a fight between ourselves and McLaren, and we take the lead now after a long while of McLaren leading the way. But that was just such an unreal race. I mean, the tyre wear made things so difficult. I hope it was, you know, you could tell visually that every move we were making, although we're, you know, impressive and, you know, fighting everyone, it was so hard because every corner, the rear end was wobbling a bit. I could feel it in the force feedback, and it was, you know, moments away from disaster basically on the last lap of the Grand Prix into turn 1 when we had to dive to get back past both Lando and George into turn 1. on, and then after that, subsequently, Russell got Lando down the hill. Amazing stuff from him, and he, in the last season of this career mode on this game, his AI is doing unreal stuff. He's now consistently doing it to a point where he is here. He is in this championship fight, maybe, if he continues like this, basically. He's 14 points off, so that's a large amount in career mode terms, but give it another good result here. You know, he's there. So this is madness. This is a crazy one. But if you did enjoy it, then hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. And I will see you guys next time, guys. Goodbye.